Let's talk about the law now, which they say is a donkey capable of being applied to achieve many tasks. The Supreme Court judgment on the Ondo State governorship election petition was a case of using a stone to kill two birds for the ruling All Progressives Congress. On one hand, the judgment validated the election of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, and on the other, afforded the APC the grace to evaluate the competence of its caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, which is led by Governor Buni. A chieftain of the party, who is the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, has now warned that since the verdict of the Apex Court has called the Buni-led committee to question, opponents will challenge its competence and any Congress it organized. Mr. Keyamo, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, also urged the APC to act now and suspend the planned congresses, as it will amount to an exercise in futility. But the APC, in a statement earlier today, says the world congresses will go on as scheduled, and so the days ahead will be interesting. BKO, whose side are you on now? We're having two reactions, in fact, at least two reactions. Mr. Babajide Ojudu is also said to be aligning himself with the Keyamo position, as with Itai Enang. What do you make of this?
To preview what we said here yesterday.
On Wednesday, indeed.
Everything we said here yesterday was what Keyamo repeated. Just take a look at that footage again. The first thing I said was that APC was extremely lucky because the judgment could have gone either way. If the Supreme Court judges wanted to enrich our jurisdiction and teach politicians a lesson, they could have unanimously...
even without Buni being a party?
Yes. Because whether it was a party or not, someone had gone against the law. Not just the APC constitution, but the Nigerian constitution. So I really don't see what...
which they acknowledged.
Yes, the truth is, Keyamo said the truth. The truth is always bitter for truth-hating people to accept. This party was going to be in this kind of mess in 2018. You remember that it was the VP that saved the power-hungry individuals in the APC from plunging the party into a big mess. The VP warned that, gentlemen, the tenure of this ESCO has ended. Whatever action they took now will be rendered a nullity, because you can't build something on illegality. Yeah. That is a fact. The VP made a convincing argument, and at the end of the day, the four governors who rose up at that time to say no, Baba Oyegu must continue in office, and just based on their own selfish interests, they had to eat humble pie in the end. But at the end of the day, the party was able to
listen.
To organize congresses, and a new leadership led by Oshomole, emerged. And Oshomole successfully led the party to victory in 2019. Now, what do we have? We have a caretaker committee. The constitution, neither the APC constitution nor the constitution of our country, envisages a situation in which there will be a caretaker. No, there's no such thing as caretaker in the APC constitution. No such thing. The constitution did not also envisage that a person will be governor and he will occupy not just the position of governor, but will occupy the position of acting chairman as well. I'm waiting for who will show me
the portion of the
that
Constitution.
portion, because look at let us even start with the APC Constitution. No officer in any organ of the party shall hold executive office in government concurrently.
Even the Constitution of the party.
Yes, Article 17, subsection 4 of the APC Constitution. It says that. Then Section 183 of the 1999 Constitution says the governor shall not, during the period when he holds office, hold any other executive office or paid employment in any capacity whatsoever.
Indeed.
From the way those justices spoke, whether in giving their minority judgment and all that, they were clear that Mai Mala Buni was the issue in this matter. And the fact that he was occupying the position of acting chairman or caretaker chairman of the party was the issue. And they repeated the fact that APC was lucky because the PDP were not smart enough to join Mai Mala in the suit. All of the people hitting their heads against the wall now and saying, no, there's nothing wrong, we will go ahead and all that. What would they have done if the PDP were smart enough and they joined Mai Mala in the suit and the judges overwhelmingly decided to kick
To nullify the
Governor
election.
Akeredolu into touch? What would they have done? Because people can make all kinds of remarks. We know that it's not easy to give up power. And we know that power people will sometimes wish to die rather than relinquish it. But where you want to bring down an entire party just for you to continue to be relevant, for you to continue to occupy the position, that is the height of selfishness. And the definition of being selfish is anybody who puts himself first. So this is it. I'm used to this. I'm a historian. I know that they were in this kind of mess before. If you go back to what I said when we were debating what the VP said, all of the governors who got up to say, no, we must keep Oyegun in office.
Oh.
I mentioned each and every one of them. And I'm happy that at the end of the day, the president, after listening to all of the arguments, including the ones that made sense and the ones that made absolute illogic, the president said, let us go for election. Why are people afraid to obey the law? Is this not a democracy? Why are people scared to let the law take hold of the affairs of men? Well,
the APC's National Secretary is saying that while he will not join issues with Mr. Ujudu, Senator Enang, and the senior advocate of Nigeria, Keyamo, he's also saying that that judgment had no bearing on the whole caretaker extraordinary committee.
No problem.
And that the congresses will go on as scheduled.
Was it not the late Chibola Ige that said, I see, don't look. We're watching them. Because even the congresses are doomed to fail. If you recall, some days ago, Festus Keyamo said that some party chieftains in Delta were planning to hijack materials, to hijack the congresses. Magnus Abe issued a statement, Senator Magnus Abe. Remember, he was the one that did APC in 2019 elections in Rivers State. He issued a statement and said APC should find a way around it. Now, towards the end of his statement, he said, even as at now, they've not got materials or anything, any information about the congresses that are set to be scheduled for Saturday. In Osun State, they're already saying, people are already saying that nothing like consensus. And the same thing all over the place. So, what are you going ahead with? Congresses that are already mired in controversy. Then I read the statement of the Deputy Senate President, Omo Agege. You know, well, I found it somewhat strange, you know, some of the arguments he was bringing up. That Mala Buni was caretaker committee chairman of APC, just helping out the party, as an assignment. He was now trying to equate it with chairmanship of the Governors Forum or President Buhari's chairmanship of the African Union. And I now ask a question. I think they should go and find out how Ngige fell as Anambra State Governor. They should go also and find out how Rotimi Amechi came back to power. You remember, the Supreme Court said it's parties that produce candidates. You can't equate a party, a political party that presents candidates for election with an association of voluntary membership. You get me? So for you to now try to draw those things, it's so simple. All they just need to do, all that any interested party member needs to do is this. All right, you go ahead with the congresses. They will now, since you say the Supreme Court didn't directly address it, no problem. They will just simply take that strand and turn it into a case. Since there's already a minority judgment at the Supreme Court, it will form a basis for a long drawn out suit. And let me tell you one thing these people don't realize. There is no time. By this time next year, APC, all the political parties will be heading into presidential primaries. Take note, presidential primaries, they will be busy with presidential primaries, governorship, and all of that. So if APC does not put its act in order now, it's going to be, in fact, it's going to shoot itself out of 2023 elections. So the basic thing is this: whether it was the minority that decided, because the Deputy Senate President, he also tried to play it up, that it was a minority, it was the minority judgment that brought it out. But you see, the law remains the law. All it needs is for some very clever lawyers because say the same senior advocates of Nigeria that will just take that strand, build on it. They should go and read past judgments of the Supreme Court on the role of parties, on the position of a party chairman, what it constitutes. They should go and look at what happened to Oshomole. Oshomole was suspended by his word. He didn't go to court in time. He didn't do anything about it. Oshomole could have done maximum damage to the party if he had gone ahead to challenge his suspension. He could have done a lot of things. Okay, look at how they fought Obaseki in Edo State. Obaseki still triumphed because he has been with them. He understands the game. Yes. So now you have the Osun elections coming up. You have Ekiti elections coming up. Anambra coming up. Already people are saying that they don't know where Andy Oba's candidacy as APC governorship candidate, where it stands.
All right,
so you are still dancing around.
Let me put you on hold. Ade, our first caller on the show today from London, welcome. Please join the conversation.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I greet Babajide. Babajide, if you observe your interview with the minority leader of the Senate, he was trying to tell you that by November, you see the company from APC or PDP was interrupted in that day. But what when you are trying to get something, you pray that your enemy to have misfortune. This is exactly what is happening. PDP is coming back. And APC is coming back, bouncing back. Because whatever they do from now, even the Anambra governorship, to bring fatality. Yes. So you have said the right thing, just watch out. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ade. And so there are options now for the party moving forward. Calls for Mr. Buni to resign, to third majority of the NEC membership to sign and summon a meeting to reconstitute this caretaker committee, and the other option to invoke the power of the Board of Trustees, which includes the President, to be activated so as to organize a national convention by the board. Which do you think is the most viable at this time now?
Yes, I think that the suggestion that the NEC should be activated, the NEC of the party should be activated, is the best. After the convention of the party, the NEC is the most powerful organ of the party. So you can call a NEC meeting. By the way, the constitution of the party does not also recognize virtual meetings. Yes, none of us have said that COVID will come, but the constitution does not make allowance for eventualities. You are a lawyer, you know what I'm talking about. You
can't see it all.
Yes, the constitution does not say you can hold your meetings via Zoom or whatever. So let them call a proper meeting. And the neck of the party can call a meeting. Even at that, the meeting that was called to set up the caretaker committee was an illegal one. Because the person who called the meeting was not permitted by law to even call that meeting. And then you went ahead, set up a caretaker committee. We said at that time that it was wrong, that it was not known to the constitution of the party that you have a caretaker committee. You know? But of course, people will not listen. People like Giadome or Giadom or
Victor
Giadom had even ceased to be members of APC. But the governors who were desperate to take over the party, because governors now, especially APC governors, all they want to do is simply hijack the party and take complete control of the party. And some of them did not even join the party from inception. Yet, all they after, I know some of them that came from PDP that even took part in primaries in PDP. Today they are behaving like God. God with the small letter G. That's how they are behaving. They don't want anyone else to talk. They want to take all the big decisions. They will go and see the president at night, late at night, confuse the old man, and then come and take decisions that will have tremendous impact on the well-being of the party. This is what they are doing. So their selfishness led APC to lose 4 states against my warning. I've been warning them since 2016, but they will not listen because permanently there is hands-free in the ears of some of them. This hands-free gadget, yes. Permanently. So they won't listen until they do it and then they regret it. The DSP, Deputy Senate President, I've read what he said. I see no basis for what he was saying. Even the judge who read the lead judgment made the point, because these politicians, they don't bother to even investigate before talking. The judge who read the lead majority judgment mentioned the fact that the PDP failed to join Buni, and that was wrong. So why do you think a judge will say all of that? The judge was trying to explain what caused them to fail. But that illegality, despite the fact they lost that case, that illegality remains. Someone else can use it.
Absolutely.
And I think this morning we heard that the YPP in Anambra is already saying that you, Andy Uba, you are going nowhere. You know, Andy Uba was governor for 19 days. He wants to be governor again. Now the YPP is saying, you are governor for 19 days. But this time around, they will not even allow you to get close. They are not fools.
Be voted in.
People have seen a trap that they can exploit. So this is the time. I'm not advising them. I'm just saying it the way it comes from them. I don't have to advise them because after all, they are not going to pay for the advice. What should happen is leaders of the party, selfless leaders, not the latter-day selfish leaders of the party. Leaders of the party, genuine leaders of the party, who would not want to see their work destroyed before their very eyes. They should come together and do what is right. What is right is to respect the Constitution. It is not Babajide who wrote the Constitution, but the letters of the Constitution are clear. You cannot deceive. You can deceive yourself, but you can't deceive those judges. because they wait for you.
Yes.
We've seen judges punish president in our country. Obasanjo was punished for his love for impunity over the matter of Rotimi Amechi. Rotimi Amechi never asked to be made governor.
No.
He never asked. He never asked for it. He said, please declare that I'm the lawful candidate of the party. Those babas in the Supreme Court moved a step further. They said, to teach these people a lesson, okay, Amechi, you are governor. No one can say with finality that it can happen again. No one. Because this is a democracy and we must do things, we must respect our constitution, we must do things according to the letters of our constitution. This is not about sentiment. We want politicians to behave reasonably.
Simple. Respect the rule of law.
The pendulum can even swing either way, because you just raised the very vital point in the Amechi situation.
Were they expecting what happened?
Absolutely.
They were not expecting it.
The ball fell in the court of the Supreme Court, and now they've spoken, and the verdict is final. But Emeka, what is your take as to the best situation or the best option? You're watching Journalists Hangout on TVC News. Thanks for staying with us. Back to our conversation on reactions. Of course, the last hasn't been heard on the Supreme Court decision on the candidacy of Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. So, well, it's Thursday. Saturday is almost here, talking about the planned world congresses. But what do you think the party should be looking at right now?
Well, I won't be surprised if some members get an injunction tomorrow from any court.
Yes.
Because we've seen that politicians, they can even go to an area court to get injunction. They can go anywhere. They can go to a state high court and get it. So I won't be surprised if an injunction suddenly springs up to stop the congresses. Tomorrow is Friday now.
That would be a good injunction.
You know the way they spring things up at the last minute. Now the second thing is this. Just like Jide said, you see, APC should follow due process. They should go and learn from PDP. PDP was heading to destruction when, the big wigs in the party now said, listen, this is the vehicle that brought us to power. Why should we now let the engine, in fact, the vehicle go up in flames, and then we'll be left out in the cold? So they subsumed their interest and allowed the party to come back. Then later, they resumed politicking, and then you saw certain people who are, who are working against the interests of the party. They began to leave. APC should follow the due process. They should follow the rule of law. That's what we've been talking about in this country. They should adhere to the rule of law. They should respect their constitution. They should respect the Nigerian constitution. And then all these people trying to give some strange interpretations to the Supreme Court decision should realize something. There were people who advised Ngige to continue. Don't worry, everything is okay. Until, if you remember in the early days of the First Republic, there was this slogan, it's a victory for democracy. If you remember, lawyers will collect money from politicians, deceive them that don't worry, you win. Then when the politicians are flatly defeated, they'll say it's a victory for democracy. After you've collected people's money. So they should just realize that, it is not enough to say all is well, all is well. Politics is about mutual interest, mutuality of interest. So they should bury their ambitions. And then now, look at how to salvage the party, because the thing is this, there is no time. There is no time. I'll repeat it, there is no time. They should not think that they have time in their pockets, because, if Nigerians get tired of waiting on these people, and they cannot get their house together, what will naturally happen? PDP will just come. Look at in Anambra. APGA is having problems. APC having problems. PDP having problems. Fine, you buy just bouncing.
But APGA has spoken.
No, but the court again has said Umilji the candidate. So indeed, what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this.
Too.
Politicians should learn. Politicians should learn to do the right things at the right time.
All right, let's bring in Emmanuel from Kaduna. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Babajide, I greet you.
I agree to you, man.
What Babajide says in a way is right. But since the APC chief law have told them that they should go on with the Congress, that nothing will happen. I believe they should listen to the party first. Because this thing that is happening now, if you take it in a way, you will be as if that some people that is listening as is the one clamoring for this media, that the APC chairman should step aside for now. Some people that maybe they are losing us maybe for the gain of the power. They are the one clamoring in this media now. So they should allow the law enforcement, they should allow the chief law of the party to decide. But if the majority of them say, okay, let the chairman step aside, don't let people do like that. But for now, they should just allow the man to do his work. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, President Buhari has also spoken out in reaction to the judgment, Wednesday's judgment at the Supreme Court. He's implying, or he's even gone as far as saying that judgment or that victory has bolstered the strength and reach of the party and brightened its chances at the coming elections. What do you make of that?
No, the president was not referring to this controversy.
No. But he's congratulated.
He has limited his congratulatory remarks to the fact that Akeredolu has won. Of course, if Akeredolu lost, that can be a plus for APC. It means that to make life even more difficult for APC to win in Ondo State and maybe some of the states around it. So the president was right that it has brightened their chances. That is what he can see in the immediate. He is yet to comment on this controversy regarding Buni and other caretaker committees. It was the president that empaneled them, that set up the caretaker committee.
And even extended.
Yes, and he has extended it. So in his heart now, he does not believe he has done something wrong. Because he said at that time that he needed to do something to stop the party from drifting. It was a good thing that he intervened. But the intervention went against the law. It was still possible to intervene and do it in a manner that is in conformity with both the APC constitution and the Nigerian constitution and even the Electoral Act. So I would want a situation in which the president returns home and calls a meeting for this matter to be decided before it's too long. Because time, as Emeka said, is not on their hands. They may think that they have all the time, but time is not on their hands. I hope they don't get to a point when they will start singing that famous Don Williams song, "Time, oh time, where did you go?" When you suddenly realize that time is no longer with you, you start singing, "Time, where did you go?"
Where did you go?
The elections, look at Anambra now. Anambra, the first week of November, you have an election in Anambra. And that's an election that APC takes seriously, But with all that is happening now, we don't even know whether they will be able to field the candidate in Anambra. Because the YPP has already sent a clear signal that, look, we are going to challenge the nomination of Andiuba. So,
BK, let's bring in Oluchola, Julius, and Pause will come back to take more from your end. Mr. Julius, good evening.
Good evening. I'm Oluchola Julius from Ibadan, your state capital. Babajide, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And the other man there.
Emeka,
good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Emeka.
Yes.
Now, honestly, it would have been so good that APC will fix up his house before the 2023 election. Now, honestly, we thank God, just as the way Babajide said it yesterday, we appreciate God for the victory for Akeredolu. But this victory as well is bringing another loophole that APC will have to fall into if care is not taken before 2023 election. And that has brought on internal democracy, that did not allow internal democracy to take part, even in the affairs of their party. So it will be very good that APC will now make sure that they get it right, even before November, December this year. Any time from that time, will be very dangerous and very wicked, even on them and any effort they will have to take. But we want to have a better election in 2023. If APC doesn't want to participate, there's no problem. But I believe Nigeria will survive. Thank you.
Well, Chola Julius, thank you very much. Final thoughts from you?
I was talking about the lead majority judgment by Justice Agim of the Supreme Court. He said all the issues raised revolved around May Malabuni, but May Malabuni, who is at the center of the dispute, was not made party to the petition. It is obvious that the determination of the said issues will affect him. Therefore, the court below was right to have held that he was a necessary party to this suit. The court held that they should have made him, they should have joined him in that suit. He should have been a party to the suit. By not doing that, it was a fatal mistake that the PDP made, and that cost them victory at the Election Petitions Tribunal, at the Appeals Tribunal,
and now
the Supreme Court.
At the Supreme Court.
So if they had done that, honestly, it is what happened in Bayelsa that will have happened.
Dr. Bisi was even saying yesterday on the program that it's a lesson to the PDP, but in fact, I can even go home with several lessons, because unlike the argument, it was only a matter of numbers anyway, even though the dissenting portion of the Supreme Court said May Malabuni is a part or is an agent of the principal. So if all of them had reasoned that way, indeed would have been saying something else. So it's a lesson for everyone, even though Mr. Jegede has gone on to congratulate Governor Akeredolu and by extension the people of Ondo State.
I just hazard a guess as to why the PDP didn't join Mai Malabuni. You know, maybe they took a cue from, you know, certain things in their Mechi judgment that parties present candidates. So if they had joined Mai Malabuni, perhaps, I'm just guessing, perhaps the APC would have found a way around it. Maybe that's what maybe the lawyers thought.
They would not have found a way. See,
maybe also immunity too.
They could have argued immunity though.
But immunity, I've
addressed that.
Are we saying that no judgment can go against a governor because he has immunity? Immunity against criminal prosecution. Nobody wants to jail May Malabuni. Nobody. He can have all the immunity in the world, but if it was not right for you to do something, you can lose in court. People with immunity, they lose in court, and the court will say, no, you are wrong. When I hear this immunity thing, it's ridiculous. I'm not a trained lawyer. Well, I don't see how someone can say that because a person has immunity, then he can do what. When we say the Constitution is supreme, then you can go against the Constitution. Governors lose in court. We see it. You go back. The judges will give judgment against you if you run foul of the Constitution. This is not a matter where people can cite immunity. And if they want to...
Especially since he was even acting in his capacity as the head of the party.
You know why the immunity thing was designed? Is to stop... is to allow governors to face their work. People will come up with civil cases, all kinds of civil cases that will not allow them to communicate, to do their work. That's the idea. The immunity is not designed to allow governors or the president to infringe on the laws of our land. And we've seen presidents lose in court. We've seen governors lose in court. So in this case, it was not the issue of immunity. They should have yes, from the first day in that lower court, they were told that you should have joined them, and that's what the lead, the judge who read the lead judgment said, that they should have joined him from the beginning.
From the beginning, all right.
And they saying that they didn't say, oh, he had immunity. Maybe that was why they did. Those judges will have said that.
They would have said that. I concede to your superior argument.